I have two guns, one for each of you.
Hi everybody, this is Douglas Cooper, Arm the Populace, also with ATP Productions. We have a lot of new exciting programming coming out for you. We're doing 513 Blaze. We have some amazing rappers in Cincinnati. We're going to be a monthly show showcasing their talent. We've got, we're also doing one, Cincy Inc. Cincinnati has some amazing tattoo artists and piercers. We're going to be showcasing their talent. But we want to help. So we're also going to be doing a monthly show, Nurse Mo, and her show's coming out. She's going to tell you some more about herself, but this is a little snippet preview. So, Nurse Mo, what are you going to be helping us with?
I'm going to be helping you with all things health and wellness related.
Oh, I hear diet and exercise coming, and I start getting scared.
Everybody hears diet and exercise coming, and actually, I don't like those two words.
There we go. I have something in common with you. So what is a guy like me to do who obviously does not diet well and does not get enough exercise?
Well, there's a lot of things that you can do. First of all, I like to change the diet word to eating better. One simple change at a time. And I like the exercise word to be called moving more, whatever that might entail. So we're not going out and trying to run the mile from a sedentary lifestyle. We're going out and moving a little bit more.
Okay.
So it's one simple change at a time. And I'm a firm believer that knowledge is power. And that's what I want to bring to the viewers here, is to understand their bodies. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. I hear that a lot.
Yeah, that's real talk right there. I mean, you wake up in the morning and you just are sick and tired of being sick and tired. But it doesn't matter. You got to take care of kids. You got to go to work. You've got life to do. So you hit Starbucks. You slam down a triple red-eye espresso. Me, myself, I'm a 5-hour energy guy. I need about 20 extra hours of energy to get through my day.
Right.
You eat junk food. You do whatever it takes to get through the day. And there's got to be a better way.
And there is. And when your body is yelling, your lack of energy is your body's way of talking to you. So one of the things I'd like to do is I'd like to help people understand the language of their body. What is your body trying to tell you when it's giving you pain, when it's giving you lack of energy, when it's making you tired, when you catch a cold? When things are going on with your body, what is your body trying to tell you? How do you interpret that? And then what can you do for your body in order to help it out? Now, I am going to tell you, Doug, fruits and vegetables are some of those.
Here we go. It always comes down to you got to eat your spinach. Well, I don't like spinach, Nurse Mo.
Absolutely.
I don't particularly care for apples. I don't like lima beans. As a matter of fact, if it ain't fried, it ain't tried. Now, you fry up some okra, tomatoes, potatoes, hey, but...
You got yourself a nice little stir fry going on there.
Yeah, and then throw, some fried chicken on there and some biscuits, and I'm good.
Hey, you're a good guy.
So
right, exactly.
what does a person like me do who, number one, not only do I not like that food, but it takes time to prepare.
Yes.
I can throw a couple hot dogs in the microwave and a pack of ramen, cook it all together, and in 5 minutes I'm eating.
Right.
We're busy. I mean, we're doing TV shows, concealed carry classes. I mean, everybody out there, they're on the go. Eating healthy is not only expensive, it's hard because you got to cook stuff.
It's very hard. It's time consuming. It's difficult. There are a lot of people out there who can't eat fruits and vegetables either. I was one of those people, and we'll hear a little bit more about that on your first show.
Okay.
On the first show that we do and present to people.
And since we do want to come from a perspective and point of helping, it just made sense for us to talk and get you on TV. I've tried a few of the things already. Nurse Mo brought me a little goodie bag, and I was telling her, I'm honest about it. I'm kind of lazy when it comes to feeding, and especially on weekends when we're teaching classes and all that. If I can grab it and shove it in my mouth, I'll run off of it.
Absolutely.
The little cheese cracker packets, little packs of peanuts and that stuff, I keep them in the car, eat them all the time.
Right.
This weekend, I grabbed a couple of the little bars that you gave me.
Bars, yeah.
Threw them down, so wash them out with water. And I'm like, well, they'll expand in my stomach and they'll keep me full. But I also take all the 5-hour energy drink or 5-hour energies during the weekend, and I always pay the price on Monday. The guts are a little torn up from running on all that caffeine, B12, and all that. I found just from eating the little, I guess with the fruit bars.
The snack bars, yeah.
Yeah, not nearly as bad. So I could only
Wow.
imagine. Yeah, I mean, and that's not lip service. That's not lip service at
That's
all.
amazing.
I would
And you
love to.
haven't even gotten started on the fruit, vegetable, and berry powders.
See, there you go again. I'd love to. I see it. I want to come back and be like,
Because I've
there's Mo. I hate that stuff. It didn't do nothing, but it really did. And
Yep.
it makes sense. I mean, as
Yep.
much as I would love to disagree with you,
Right.
everything you're talking about, I know you're right. It's just how do we affect change in a 21st century life that we can maintain?
Right, exactly. And I think the ease, keeping it simple is one of our mottos in our community. Keep it simple. Keep it as simple as possible. I like to call that kissing everybody. Keep it simple. Let me show you a way how you can affect change in your body in a positive way, keeping it simple, and let's spread that message around to everybody. You don't have to be a vegan or a vegetarian to be healthy. You can still eat what you want to eat. You know, when you start getting the fruit and vegetable nutrition into your body actually starts craving better stuff. So it's a process. It's if somebody had told me a few years ago that I'd be eating fruit and vegetables again, I'd have laughed at them. So it's a process, you know, your body goes through this. Who knows where I'll be in 2 years or where you'll be in 2 years. But you start at ground zero and you go from there.
Um, well, and you used yourself as a guinea pig.
Oh, I certainly did. I
And
certainly
I'm
did.
going to kind of do the same thing. I'm going to use myself as a guinea pig because I want to try and see what happens. But you experimented pretty hardcore on yourself.
I did.
And you were sort of a turncoat. I mean, you came up through hardcore pharmacy, healthcare.
Oh, I was trained as a nurse. I was not trained in any way, shape, or form on the plant
You
power.
were living on a kibbutz or a
Oh,
commune.
no, no, no. And I pushed medicine, surgeries, chemotherapy, radiation, vaccinations, all of that stuff. I was hardcore RN. Yes, that's how I was trained and that's how I was raised and that's what I believed. I actually had somebody come to me and say, have you changed your diet? Have you tweaked your diet? And we have this misnomer in the Crohn's and colitis community. Don't talk to me about my diet. Because basically when you do, you're telling me I put myself here and I want to be sick because of the way I'm eating. So I looked at that woman and I said, yes, I have. Thank you very much. It didn't work for me. But you know what? I had lied. And after I went through this process and saw what nutrition did for my body, giving me my life back, giving me my health back, I saw her again at a friend's house. And I said, I have to apologize to you. Because I lied to you when you said that to me, and I want to tell you, keep doing what you're doing and keep saying what you're saying because you are going to change lives.
And that's what we're trying to do. You know, you won't know if it works unless you try it.
Right.
And that's all. And that's all we can do. We can only bring you information. We can't make you make your life better.
Right.
Whether it's
right.
on, we do shows on the cryptocurrency, the Bitcoin. You don't have to make more money. That's okay. You don't have to get healthier.
Right.
But what we're going to try to do is get the information out to you because we want to help.
Right.
And like me, I imagine a lot of you out there is, well, where do I start? If I go to GNC, I'm going to come out with a $300 bill, and I'm not even sure what I bought other than my multivitamin. I know a multivitamin, but other than that.
Don't do that. Don't do that. I actually have an answer for you. It's a company called Juice Plus. And Juice Plus actually takes fruits and vegetables, grows them organically to the peak of ripeness, picks them, juices them, seed, skin, pulp and all, dehydrates them slowly to preserve the nutrients, gets them into powder form, encapsulates them or puts them into a gummy. They also have a vegan protein powder for those macronutrients and the bars that I shared with you, and a aeroponic gardening system where you can actually grow your own vegetables and fruit. And in your home, it's like having a farmer's market in your kitchen or in your backyard. It's got 20 spots in it. It takes up 10% of 10% of water of traditional gardening, 10% of the space, no soil. It's an amazing. I'll get one in here to show you guys.
I am excited.
Yeah.
And, and the nice thing about this is whether it be Miss Cree Cargile, who is our cryptocurrency expert, or myself and my brother Charlie Griffin on consumer concealed carry. Nurse Mo is accessible. This is not someone who's going to be flying
Absolutely.
back to Hollywood. This is a Cincinnati person. We're going to put up her information in the show. This is
Absolutely.
one of many shows. So you start following along and you go, okay, maybe I'll make one of these changes. And, you know, I watch this show and that makes sense to me. So I'm going to start doing that. Let's see where we're at 6 months from now. Because
Absolutely.
I'll try and I will give you honest feedback, you know, but from the little bit I tried, just from eating those, they were like cow feeds, rabbit food. I mean, they weren't bad. They just, you know, was it a Big Mac? No, but it was something I could chomp, 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 drink some water and go. But
Right. Kind of like
I
your
felt
crackers,
better.
except a little bit healthier.
A lot healthier,
Yeah.
and they actually taste a little better than my crackers.
Yeah, and you know, I talked about your body talking to you. You're feeling a little bit better after eating those, just the little bit that you had.
Yeah.
Was your body thanking you for doing that? That's the language of your body, the good and the bad. Your body thanks you by giving you more energy, by making you feel good, taking that pain
And
away.
I don't even like my body like that.
Well, it's time to fall in love, Doug.
All right. See, this is why you've got to tune in. Nurse Mo, we're going to be bringing her to you, getting you healthy. Contact her. Check out the show. Start following her. She's on Facebook. We've got email for her. She's here to help, and she really does know her stuff. Like I said, I want her to be wrong. I'm not trying to eat this stuff. It's not me. But I can work with the program that she has, the Juice
Absolutely.
Plus, and it makes sense to me. We do need to be healthier, and maybe pharmaceuticals aren't the way, or maybe it's a blend of the two, Eastern and
Absolutely.
Western.
We need it. We need it at some time. We need it at some point, the Western medicine. But, you know, we've got to start taking better care of our bodies.
So what sort of things, I'll say, give us a preview. What are we going to be talking about, obviously, besides eat your veggies?
Well, the microbiome, gut health. I'd like to talk about the fertility issues going on
I was
in
just
our
going to say, I'm
country.
sneak peeking
I've
at
got
your
a
little
list
list right
here.
there, and I mean, it's everything but a hang-grown toenail can be cured by this.
Absolutely. Cancer, heart disease, stroke, diabetes, autoimmune disorders, obesity. There's actually a reason why people rebound with their weight. I'll teach about that.
Okay.
Fertility issues, children's health. We are seeing so many adult diseases in our children today. Why? Why is that happening? I want to help people with that. Let's take care of our first responders. Do you know that a lot of our first responders die in their 40s and 50s because of the stress that they experience? Not just our first responders, but our soldiers. What about our athletes? We have a lot of
I
kids.
never thought about that, but that's a great point.
Yeah, a lot of kids, a lot of athletes in our community. How do we take care of our kids and our athletes? Is our DNA our destiny? I have news for you. Those forms you fill out at the doctor's office, you have more control over that than you think. Your DNA is only about 10% of your destiny. It's not as big as what we think. So we're going to learn a lot about what influences our health and our disease and how we can turn that more to health and farther away from disease.
I love it. And this is why, as we expanded, we started doing the show just for the concealed carry community, the gun community in Cincinnati. But people came to us and said, what else can we do? And we thought about it, and I love doing like 513 Blaze and the rappers and that. But ultimately, end of the day, we love our city. We love Cincinnati, and we want to help the people here be healthy. Not that we don't want people in California to be healthy and all that, but let's start here. Let's start
Absolutely.
right here at home.
Absolutely.
And let's find people that are local that want to help. And you definitely are an advocate for this. You are almost evangelical about eat your veggies and fruits. So
You know, I watched my sister die from brain cancer over a 6-month period. Her daughter, she was 52. She was my age. Her daughter was 16. My youngest is 16. I can sit here and tell you for a fact she was not ready to die. I just lost a friend 2 weeks ago. He died in his sleep from a heart attack. I saw him 2 weeks before that at my 35th high school reunion. I am now watching his wife mourn his loss, his immediate unexpected loss, and his daughter, who turned 18 3 or 4 days after his passing. I am watching her mourn her father's loss before she starts her first year of college next month. I don't think children should be watching their parents die at such a young age. I don't think parents should be watching their children, watching them be sick, or watching their children die. Let's take our health back. Let's get back to the basics. Let's understand what our bodies need. Let's understand our bodies talk. And let's help each other, take care of each other, take care of our loved ones, and start doing what we should be doing. You don't have to be vegan, but let's get a little bit more nutrition into our bodies.
Nurse Mo, if you're going to lead the charge, I'll fall in behind you. How about that?
I am absolutely. As many warriors as I can get behind me, let's go.
All right, there you have it. Tune in, Nurse Mo. It's going to be a monthly series. This is Douglas Cooper, ATP Productions. We'll see you next month.
Be well.
For what can I do to make myself more healthy, we went out and found Nurse Mo. So ATP Productions would like to introduce you in TV land to Nurse Mo. Thank you for being on the show.
Thanks so much, Doug.
So tell us a little about yourself.
I am a registered nurse of 23 years.
Okay.
I went to school at Xavier University here in town.
Okay.
I was a single mom of a 3-year-old at the time, went to school full-time, graduated cum laude.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
That is no small achievement.
No.
So you came up in the belly of the beast, so to speak. I mean, if you were an RN, you were right there with all the doctors writing out their little script pads and all of that. How did you come turncoat? What happened?
Well, I got sick. I got sick in 2008.
Okay.
I was working my dream job.
Okay.
I got sick at work one day and I didn't know what was going on and went to the hospital. They sent me home with a prescription and said, see your doctor in a few days. And that night was a really bad night. I ended up going to my doctor the next day and they asked me how I wanted to go to the hospital. Do I want to go by squad or do I want my teenage daughter to take me?
If you don't mind me asking, when you say you got sick, what do you mean you got sick? Because I'm just looking for a little clarification.
Absolutely.
Dizzy, nauseous, what happened when you got sick?
I thought I had the flu. I was nauseous. I didn't feel very good. I just wanted to go home and crawl into bed. It was January. I seriously thought I had the flu.
Okay, which those of us that have had the flu, I mean, once you've had it, you have empathy. Someone says, I have the flu, you feel like you're going to die. Your joints hurt, your bones hurt, you're nauseous, you're queasy, but it's just the flu. As bad as you feel, it's going to pass in a week or so and you'll be back to normal, even though you feel like you're dying right then and there.
Right.
But it didn't pass.
It didn't pass. And my boss asked me to stay until 1 o'clock for the 1 o'clock meeting, and I stayed for the 1 o'clock meeting, went and sat in her office, and ended up leaving right then and there.
Oh, wow.
Called my teenage daughter. She took me to the heart hospital up in Dayton, and that's when they sent me home saying we couldn't find anything wrong with you. And I ended up in the hospital for 7 days. The surgeon thought that it was an intestinal infection. I didn't see a GI doctor the whole time I was there, and when I saw him for my follow-up, I said to him, why do I still feel so crappy? Because he wanted to discharge my care, saying, oh, you're fine, you're healed. And he said, well, let's set up an exploratory surgery to see what's going on inside. And that just didn't make sense to me.
I can understand that. I mean, why? Let's make things better by cutting you open.
Exactly. And I hadn't seen a GI doctor the whole time I was in the hospital. So I called my primary doctor after setting the appointment for the surgery, and I went and saw a GI doctor.
Okay, and what did they say?
He ordered a bunch of lab work. He set up some tests, ordered a capsule endoscopy, which is where they take a pill camera. It's a pill with a bunch of cameras inside, and you wear this halter, and you swallow the pill, and it takes pictures as it travels through your digestive system.
Wasn't there a 70s movie about Journey to the Center of Mr. Burns or something? Simpsons did it.
Yeah, I had this little thing traveling through my digestive system. It was like, what's that show, that kids show with the bus?
Yeah, Magic School Bus.
Magic School Bus. It
Here
was
we
like
go
I
down
had the magic
Nurse Mo's digestive tract.
I had the Magic School Bus traveling through me. So through going through that testing, they would be able to tell what was going on, hopefully, inside of my body. But before the test could be approved by insurance, I ended up in the hospital again. This time, I was diagnosed with C. diff, which is a really bad infection.
C. diff?
C. diff.
C. diff,
C.
okay.
diff. DIFF, and
I'm sure all my RN, CNA people out there, you know exactly what that is, but it sounds bad to me.
it's really bad. It's an opportunistic infection of the bad bacteria taking over because your good bacteria population has been pretty much wiped out. And it can actually kill people. It actually does kill people.
It's like staph almost.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
worse.
yeah. It's another bacteria. It's a different type of process, but yeah, it can kill you.
Okay.
So I ended up being diagnosed with C. diff. They did the capsule endoscopy there while I was in the hospital, and the doctor came back in and said, "You definitely have Crohn's disease." So Crohn's disease was my diagnosis, and within
For those who don't know, what is Crohn's disease?
Crohn's disease is a autoimmune disorder, just like rheumatoid arthritis, multiple sclerosis, but your body attacks the digestive system. So,
Where, like with AIDS, it's the immune system. Crohn's, it's the digestive system.
right, with
Okay.
MS, it's your neurological system. Arthritis, it's your bones and your joints.
Okay.
So yeah, it's just a different way that your body is a different area your body is attacking.
Okay.
Yeah, so I ended up being diagnosed with Crohn's disease, and that same day, right after those two diagnoses, I got a call from my boss. I had been pushed to apply for FMLA. I was on FMLA.
For those that don't know, that is the Family Medical Leave Act that allows you to be absent from work while still maintaining your job, for just again in TV land.
Right, and what happens is if you're in the top 10% of earners in your company, you can
Okay.
actually have your position taken away. And I was in the top 10% of earners in my company, and that day, laying in my hospital bed on the phone with her, when she found out I had Crohn's and C. diff, she said, "Oh, Mo, you're going to be gone a while." And I said, "I'm trying to get back as quick as possible." I was a single mom with 3 kids at home. I was the sole income earner in my family. And at that point, she said to me, "We can't do without anybody in your position any longer. We're going to have to fill your position."
We joke amongst our family and friends about meteorites falling when life happens like that. And I suffer from media Tourette's. So when things like that happen, I imagine Billy Bob Thornton coming in from Armageddon going, "This is about as real as it gets." And then he walks off stage. That is about as real as it gets. So what did you do?
After crying?
After crying, breaking some stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you do then?
Yeah, well, I just kind of dug my heels in and decided, well, this is what it is for whatever reason it is, and I need to figure out where I go from here. So my focus was trying to get the medication appropriate that necessary to get my disease under control.
At this point, were you still doing a pharmaceutical route?
Absolutely. I was a registered nurse.
Okay.
Absolutely. You know,
Okay.
give me the drugs necessary to get my disease under control so I can go back to work and start earning money again.
I will be honest, and this is why I was so anxious to talk to Nurse Mo, because given the opportunity, I would probably go the Elvis Presley route. You wake up with some speed, you maintain throughout the day with whatever, and you take some tranquilizers at night to go to bed, and you burn the candle at both ends, but by God, your TCB taking care of business. That doesn't necessarily work so well.
No, it doesn't, because the medication for Crohn's disease is 2-month intervals. So you get your 1 dose.
Okay.
2 months later, you get your 2nd dose. 2 months after that, you get your 3rd dose. So it takes a good 6 to 8 months to figure out if it's even going to start working.
Meanwhile, you have this debilitating...
Meanwhile, you're in pain, you're bloating, excuse my expression, but you've got diarrhea 10 to 20 to 30 times a day. Some people go more than that. You can't eat without being in pain. No matter what you eat, you can eat it one day and the next day it might hurt you. So
When we spoke earlier about doing the show, you likened your digestive tract to skin knees, and I thought that I mean, everybody has fallen off a bike, playing baseball, whatever. That raw, fresh skin, and I
Yes.
thought that was a really good analogy for what was going on in your
Right.
digestive tract.
right, so when you have Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis is the sister disease to Crohn's disease.
Okay.
So ulcerative colitis is in the large intestine only. Crohn's disease can be in any part of the digestive tract from the mouth to the anus.
Okay.
So anywhere in between, and it travels. So Crohn's disease is open wounds inside your digestive tract, and it is like a skin knee. So when you eat, your body is trying to do its normal functions of digestion and processing that food that you just put into your body. And when it's trying to do that with all of these open sores inside of it, it's like pouring alcohol on a skinned knee. It's very painful. It's a very painful condition.
So your body, in trying to do what it's supposed to do, not only is creating you a lot of pain, but it's not able to get the nutrients from the food. So you're suffering from multiple spokes from the same wheel.
Exactly. Malnutrition, dehydration.
I would say malnutrition would become a factor after a while.
Absolutely, absolutely. And one of the things I noticed in going through this process of having active Crohn's disease was that I could eat all the junk food in the world I wanted to, but I could not eat healthy food. A salad, an apple, a banana, any of the fresh raw fruits and vegetables would put me in the hospital. I would be doubled over in pain, nauseous, vomiting. It was a horrible, horrible experience.
And you were still on the heavy pharmaceuticals at this time?
And I was on the heavy pharmaceuticals at this time. I was on a lot of different medications. They use prednisone, which is a steroid, to help decrease the inflammation, which is a lot of what happens with Crohn's disease. An immunosuppressant drug, so those drugs like Humira or Remicade or Cimzia that you see on TV to suppress your immune system, because that's what's happening. I was on an intestinal anti-inflammatory. I was on Prilosec, which a lot of people know about for
it's over the counter now.
Gastric reflux. Pain medication, antidiarrheals, anti-constipations, lidocaine butt cream, because when you go to the bathroom that many times in a day, you're gonna have a lot of pain down there too, and so that as well.
So you really had it from the womb to the tomb, so to speak. I mean, okay.
Yeah,
so what was the catalyst?
Exactly.
What finally just because I mean, you had a path you were on as an RN with the pharmaceuticals.
Absolutely.
What made you do the 180?
So I had applied for disability. Starting in 2010, I realized that I was trying to do 3 things, and that was one too many. I was trying to raise my children, I was trying to work, and I was trying to get better.
It's interesting, as a collector of little maxims and quotables and wisdom from other people, you see it over and over again. There's a samurai maxim: it is bad when one thing becomes two. General Patton: you try not to fight a war on more than one front at the same time. It's the same sentiment. So that's exactly, you were trying to do 3 major life things at once.
Right.
Something's got to give.
Right, and I've never heard that before. That's a wonderful, wonderful way of putting it, because I was doing way too much. And what I found is I would work 15 hours a week, and I would end up starting to feel bad again and end up back in the hospital. And I was, in a 6-year time period, I was hospitalized 12 times. And those were 9 to 12 day stays. As a single mom, sending my kids to a friend or a family member or a group of people, making sure they were getting to school, fed, bathed, whatever, while I'm sitting in the hospital trying to get better.
I can't imagine what your stress level was.
It was
like.
horrible. It was absolutely horrible. And anybody with Crohn's disease goes through this. This is what their life is. And if they're single, this is exactly what their life is. If they have a spouse, that spouse is stressed out, but that's what their life is like. So I started applying for disability in 2010, and in October of 2012, I was approved for disability, which means that I was approved for Medicare at the same time. At the time, I was on an immunosuppressant drug and paying $5 a month through the pharmaceutical company patient assistance program. Which is wonderful for people who need medications and can't afford them. The patient assistance programs are wonderful things to apply for.
Absolutely.
But I got kicked off the patient assistance program because I had Medicare now.
Okay.
So my copay for Cimzia was $750 a month. And there was no way I could afford that.
No, there's not.
I had already been homeless with my kids. We had already tried to get help through the county with housing, lived at the Evendale Hollywood Motel. Lovely, lovely place, especially with a 14-year-old son.
That's a throwback for you Cincinnati natives. I mean, there used to be the Hopple Street Hovel and the Hollywood in Evendale. You could rent it by the hour. Don't ask me how I know.
Well, I rented it by the week.
You get a price break then.
I did get a price
But
break.
I mean, we joke about the awful stuff that happens in life because that's a coping mechanism and it's healthy to be able to laugh at it. But at the same time, that's scary. That is as real as it gets. I mean, again, what did you do?
So when I got faced with that $750 copay, I went to my doctor. Again, I'm a nurse. I'm still thinking pharmaceuticals. This is what I need in order to heal my body.
Right.
And I said, what can I do? And he said, the only answer I have for you is to sign you up for a research study. And that would be an investigational drug. And I would either get the placebo, which wouldn't do anything for me anyway.
Okay.
Or I would get put onto the drug and the side effects were unknown and it could potentially kill me. And I had kids to raise, and that wasn't an option. So on the way home, I'm crying and I'm praying and I'm going, what in the world am I going to do? And I really felt like God was smacking me upside the back of the head and saying, I showed you 4 years ago what I wanted you to do. Are you gonna think about doing this now? Are you gonna
What was 4
take
years
a little
ago?
bit look? I met a woman in line at Kings Island, which is a local amusement park.
Yeah, I mean, everyone knows Kings Island.
Yeah, my daughter wanted ice cream, and we were standing in line at that ride in the kids area that goes around and goes up and down, up and down, up and down. Don't remember the name of it, but she wanted ice cream. I said, stay here, I'll go get the ice cream. I came back, and she's talking to this woman in line, and we got talking, and I'm an open book. I told her why we were there, and I told her that I really feel like we as a society are getting away from what we're supposed to be doing for our bodies. We need to get more back to what we're supposed to be doing. We should be eating more fruits and vegetables. We should be eating less junk. We should be taking care of the vessel that we were given to be here on this earth. And she said, well, how do you do that? And I told her the story about if I eat a salad, I'll end up in the hospital.
Right.
And she said, well, have you ever heard of powdered produce?
No. What's powdered produce?
Powdered produce, it's a company called Juice Plus.
Okay.
And powdered produce is fruits and vegetables grown to the peak of ripeness, picked, juiced in their whole form, skin, seeds, everything, slowly dehydrated into a powder and put into a capsule.
Okay.
And for 4 years, I sat on this information because it was too simple, it wouldn't work, this is tree-hugging mumbo-jumbo.
I'm going to applaud you right there because that's real. We try to bring real people with real information. So the first thing that was going to come out of my mouth is I don't like fruits and veggies. I like Skyline, I like La Rosa's. Will I eat a salad? I don't hate them, but I'm never going to be like, ooh, an apple. Let me move those conies out of my way. So I'm liking where this is going.
So I was the same way. Before I got sick, that's how I got into the situation I'm in. Let's be real.
Okay.
Okay? I would go and take care of my patients and tell them, eat your fruits and veggies. Stop eating so much junk. Take care of your body. Get exercise, do this, do that, do the other thing. And then I would go to the local convenience store and get a 44-ounce Diet Pop and drink it as I'm running around. Yeah.
So I want to get healthy.
Yeah,
as I drink my Coke.
Exactly.
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
And I have to admit here, I would go to those patients' homes and leave and go to that convenience store and feel like the biggest hypocrite on the face of the earth. Because here I am telling my patients what they need to do to take care of themselves, but I wasn't doing it myself.
Well, and okay, this is where you see that it's not just one isolated incident, because the fact of the matter is I can go spend $50 at Kroger's and get Little Debbie's hot dogs, bread, chips, pop, and all of that, and I come out with a cartload of crap. Or I go spend $50 and I get some fresh fruit and some fresh good meat that's actually free range and all of that, and no hormones and all that, and I have like 3 meals. And so it's very hard to eat healthy. Then you add in an active lifestyle. Well, I don't have time to prepare all this crap, and I'm sorry, but eating a Tupperware of cold egg whites and some spinach, kale, whatever, not going to happen. That Big Mac sounds awfully good.
Right.
And that's the
Exactly.
dilemma of the modern world. How do you try
Exactly.
to eat healthy in today's world?
Exactly. And it came down when I started thinking, maybe I need to give this Juice Plus a try, because that kind of seemed like my only option at the time, because I couldn't afford the $750 copay. It was the copay or being in a house and having a
Right.
roof over my kids' heads, and I wasn't going to go homeless again with them. So I decided, well, let's give this a try and see what happens. All I'm looking for is to keep my body from attacking itself so badly that I end up in the hospital more frequently or dead. That was my primary goal in starting the powdered produce, was staying out of the hospital as much as I was.
Well, and if you don't mind, because we've had some conversations before doing the show, because this is something I wanted to learn about. They say that there's an Apache saying there are several roads to the same place, but coming from a martial art background, I know the importance of meditation. And in today's world, getting called into your boss's office, having a flat tire on the way to work, a line at Starbucks when you're running late, all of those produce the same chemical reactions in our bodies as 4,000 years ago coming face to face with a tiger in the jungle. The difference then, if you come face to face with a tiger in the jungle, you can run, you can climb a tree, you can fight the tiger, but all of that adrenaline, all of those chemicals that are shot into our bodies get burned up. Think of them like nitrous oxide in a car. Well, I get called into my boss's office, I get one of these conversations, and Doug, you need to get these figures up for the month. Okay, fine. But I was all tense, and I come out of the office, and I go back to my little cubicle and get on my keyboard. I don't go to the gym and punch a heavy bag. I don't run. I don't fight a tiger. So this adrenaline and all that stuff just sits in us. This is part of the whole thing with fruits and veggies. Evidently, that gets rid of some of this stuff. I try to namaste my way out of it, but maybe I need to add some more stuff to it.
The and the namaste work, because I
Namaste
do
the
that
hell
too.
away from me. That's how I meditate.
I like that. I've never heard that
Namaste
before.
the hell away from me, and I will find tranquility.
So what happens, and I explained this to you, what
Yeah.
happens is that fight or flight reaction that we have, there's a gland on top of our kidneys, and it's called the adrenal gland. And when we get faced with that adrenal gland releases cortisol. And that cortisol is what's used for that fight or flight reaction. Well, it's caustic to the body. It's oxidative stress. And oxidative stress is toxic in our bodies. And in order to get rid of the toxins in our bodies, we need to have antioxidants. Well, where do you get those from? Fruits and vegetables. Well, darn it, I don't want to eat fruits and vegetables.
Sure
I
don't.
don't like them. I can't eat them because I'm sick. I don't know what to do. So do we just keep getting sicker? Do we just ignore the issue? What do we do? And then
Right.
it affects our energy, and it affects, some people lose hair. It comes out in other ways. Pain, disease, obesity, oxidative stress shows up in many different forms in our bodies. So you need those fruits and vegetables, and that's what this powder produce actually provides, is a way to get rid of those toxins in our bodies. So I got started on Juice Plus.
And what happened?
A year and a half later, I was hospitalized. I would have been hospitalized before starting it
Okay.
3 times, 2 to 3 times. One hospitalization, and after that hospitalization, I went to my doctor and I said, I really want to see what this Juice Plus will do for me.
What did the doctors say? Were they receptive or?
Okay. And I
Okay.
was shocked. And I said, and I really want to try to start coming off of some of my medication and see how that kind of works. And he looks at me and he goes, okay. And I went, really? And he goes, well, you're a nurse, you know your body, and you know what's going on. So if you need me, you know where to find me. So for the next year, I actually tripled the serving size of Juice Plus. The recommendation is 2 capsules of each a day.
Okay.
I went to 6 of each a
Okay.
day, because
Trying to pull all those pharmaceuticals out as well as
exactly,
heal
there were
your
a
body.
lot of toxins roaming around in there, and we need, as a society, 9 to 13 servings of fruits and vegetables a day. Are you getting those?
Whoa, time out. How many and what is a serving? Do
Okay.
French fries count?
No, French fries do not count. Okay, so hold up your fist.
My fist? Because I got a big old fist.
Hold up
but-
your fist.
All right.
But you're a nice sized teddy bear.
I am. All right, so there's my fist.
That's a serving size for you. This is a serving size for me. A smaller person would have a
Okay.
smaller serving size, but that's a serving size.
So if I had 13 fists of carrots lined up, I'm not going to eat anything else. I might have to sit here and just eat carrots. What are you doing today? I'm eating carrots.
Well, but here's the thing. We say in our community, eat the rainbow. So it's not just carrots. You want different colors. And I'm not talking Skittles.
Okay.
So you're not going to go get a bag of Skittles and
All
eat
right, Mama.
your Skittles and say
Okay.
you ate the rainbow. So you want to eat the rainbow and 9 to 13 servings a day. And that's people without disease or people who are not athletes. Athletes actually need 16 to 20 servings of fruits and vegetables a day.
You know, I will keep it 100 with people. I suffered a really bad back injury taking care of my mother. After her stroke, she went to fall. I threw myself underneath her so she could fall on my tummy, all 135 pounds over. It's soft, it'll make a great landing. But I came down on cement stairs and it was like somebody took an L5 or a sledgehammer to my L5 vertebrae. I was put on oxycodones, all kinds of crazy stuff after that. They tore my guts up. So, my mother at the time, because of the meds she was on, because any type of oxycodone, hydrocodone, whatever, it slows down the peristaltic movement of your intestines. Bottom line, it is hard to go to the bathroom to go number 2. You're always constipated. So because of after the stroke, she was kind of like an autistic child. Anything affected her cognition. If she was constipated, it affected the way she thought and could formulate sentences and things. So I got her on Metamucil. And basically, if it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander. I would take it with her, so she would drink it, and we called it our Orange Delight, and we would have our... What I noticed, though, is, hey, it did make me feel a little better in the mornings. Did I keep doing it? No, because I suck. But, and I'm not comparing that to the Juice Plus stuff, but even that, the psyllium fiber, whatever, because I don't eat healthy. I'll be the first to admit I'm more of a carnivore than anything.
Right.
But taking the little Metamucil a day because I was on the oxycodones and that, I noticed I didn't have the stomach cramping, and that was just a really small change.
Right. Well, that stomach cramping is trying to move that stool, the food that you have eaten, through your intestines and get it released, because if the stool remains inside of your body for too long, it can actually become toxic and stuff like that as well. So there's so many different things that go into play here. The microbiome, the gut bacteria. We are actually the mothership. Did you know that?
Actually, yeah, because of mitochondria being absorbed way back in the day. I know they're in there, but what other I know Jamie Lee Curtis tells you to eat Activia and put them good bacteria. Same thing you're talking about?
Same thing I'm talking about,
Okay.
except you don't do it with Activia.
Okay.
Because yogurts go through a process of being pasteurized and things like that. So some of those things can actually get killed off. So there's lots of different ways that you can get good bacteria, and we could fill a whole nother show with that.
And we will.
About getting beneficial bacteria into the gut. But the beneficial bacteria, the bacterial... it's like its own little universe. It's a wonderful, wonderful thing, and I'm actually fascinated by. But there's good guys and bad guys, and when
Sure.
there's too many good guys, they try to take over. And we all know through the universe and where we live that if there's too many bad guys and they take over, what happens?
Chaos.
So it's the same thing. So you want to keep a balance in that universe inside, and there's a lot of different things that affect that universe. And eating, what we put in our bodies, is actually one of the biggest contributors to the imbalance or the dysbiosis of the gut bacteria inside our intestines.
That makes sense. I mean, it really does. So, is it with the vegetative matter that it gives... I'm fascinated by this stuff as well. If I was going to go back to school to be any kind of doctor, I would be an endocrinologist.
Okay.
Give me human growth hormone. Give me all that stuff. I need to rebuild some stuff that has gotten damaged through the years.
Right.
But you're right. I mean, I know that so much happens in our intestinal tract, and it is one of the least thought about areas of the body.
Right.
Because of the bacteria, we have the cancers in our body at all times. It's whether or not how they react or whether or not they become dangerous or not.
Right.
I know after you're on really heavy antibiotics, the reason your stomach is so screwed up is because it kills off a lot of bacteria
A lot of the good bacteria.
that are necessary. That's why mother koalas actually have to feed their babies their feces in the beginning, because it's passed on from the mother to the babies, the bacteria necessary to break down the eucalyptus leaves. If they don't eat their mother's feces, they can't digest that stuff. So
Right, exactly. And that's why vaginal births are better, are I don't want to badmouth cesarean births because they are very important for a lot of people. A lot of women would die without having the option of having C-sections, but a lot of the beneficial microbiota of the baby
Right.
come from the mother's vaginal tract, and that's where the baby's beginning of their own gut bacteria actually begin. So there's so many things that go into it. And you were talking about damage, how the damage that happens to the gut bacteria, there's a lot of things that contribute to that. And actually when the good bacteria is actually killed off, that's where a lot of disease comes from. Hippocrates said, and I think it was 460 BC, that all disease begins in the gut. What an amazing, amazing man, because I really believe that in the next 10 to 20 years, we're actually going to have the research studies that everybody craves, proving that a lot of disease actually begins in the gut. And that's what I experienced, because in that year of going on to the 6 capsules of each of the Juice Plus a day, I went back to the doctor, and I was from 27 pills a day, I was on 5 pills a day. I was off both my inhalers. I didn't have the immune suppressant medication, and I said, I know how I'm feeling. Can we do some testing to see what everything shows? And he said, sure. So we set up a colonoscopy, an upper scope. We did blood work, and he took biopsies where my active Crohn's was before. And I went back in 3 months. At that point, I was off 4 more medications. So I was on 1 pill a day for restless leg syndrome. And
Thank you. I suffer from restless leg syndrome. I'm a fidgeter. Everyone's like, nah, you're not. No, I have restless leg syndrome. I do it at night. Before I go to sleep, I bounce it off the edge of my bed. Okay, fellow sufferer. Hear that? It's real. Restless leg syndrome, the struggle is real.
It's very real, and it actually contributes to not getting enough quality sleep, that deep REM sleep that we need at night. So at this point, I'm on 1 pill off everything else, and he says, your colonoscopy looks great. Your colon is clear. My colon had never been clear up to this point. I'm like, okay, well, that's good. What about the upper scope? He goes, just a little bit of gastritis, whereas before I had marked gastritis. I was on 80 milligrams of Prilosec a day before this.
Wow.
So just a little bit of gastritis, which is stomach inflammation.
Which doesn't that make it hard then for digestion to occur when
Absolutely.
you're suppressing all of your stomach acids? But you can't have the
Absolutely.
stomach acids in there because they hurt.
Absolutely.
So you eat water.
It's a vicious cycle. We call that circling the drain. When you're having side effects, you give a med, you got more side effects from those meds.
And round and round
and round you go. So, excuse me, I said, okay, well, what about the blood work? Now, before this, my blood work was all over the place. When I ended up in the hospital those 12 times, it was usually because my potassium was way out of whack. My potassium was normal. My inflammatory markers were normal, and inflammatory markers are indicative of autoimmune disorders.
Okay.
All different ones. My C-reactive protein was normal, which is another indicator of autoimmune disease. All of my lab work came back fine. My liver enzymes were fine. I had just been on 27 pills a day, and my liver enzymes were fine. And I'm thinking, okay, this is really weird. And I looked at him and I said, what about the biopsies? And you know when a doctor takes a little too long to tell you something and you're sitting there going, oh God, here comes the bad news.
Yes, ma'am, I do.
So I was bracing myself for the bad news, and he turned in his chair and he looks at me and he goes, all your biopsies are normal. They're negative.
Doctors hate telling you that stuff.
He was flabbergasted.
Okay.
He didn't know what to say. And I looked at him and I said, I swear the only thing I'm doing is this powdered produce. I'm drinking more water. I'm now able to eat more fruits and vegetables, whereas before I wasn't able to. And I've tweaked my dairy. I've backed off of dairy, but I still have ice cream. Let's face it, it was summertime.
UDF, you gotta love it.
UDF, the local creamery up the street.
Can I ask you a question though? What about the pain management aspect?
Right.
Because I totally understand with Crohn's disease, even fatigue, things like that. But Can pain management be affected by the gut as well?
So that's really interesting. I was sleeping 16 to 20 hours a day. I feel like I need to say that with Crohn's disease. I also have fibromyalgia, trigeminal neuralgia, asthma, allergies, depression. I had the whole gamut. It was one domino after another up until this point.
Okay.
What did you ask me? I'm sorry.
About pain management.
That's the last thing to take care of.
That ginkgo biloba. There you go.
So up until this point, I was on Vicodin. It was a constant prescription, not overprescribed. I didn't abuse it or anything like that. I used it as needed. I wasn't using my pain medication as much anymore, and now to this day, I don't need it.
So, along these lines, everyone talks about it's so hard to stop the oxys. Nope, I was on 7.5 oxys and quit. You can go to the Cincinnati Zoo and to the cat house. There is a skeleton of a Similodon, saber-toothed tiger. You can tell that this cat took some kind of debilitating wound to its shoulder, bringing down some big-ass whatever the hell they ate back then. You can also tell from the calcification rings, this cat lived another 12 years. So my question is, did the cat go on a hunger strike like Cesar Chavez and just quit eating for 12 years? Probably not. Did the cat learn to be a vegetarian? A saber-toothed tiger? Probably not. Mm-hmm. So the cat learned to run with a gimpy paw and worked it back into place. The neatest thing, or one of the coolest things, most amazing thing about the human body is its ability to heal itself. I'm a big believer, if you heal the mind, the body will follow, but you've got to give the body what it needs to help. Mm-hmm. So one of the things with a gun dude named Doug, I'm not going to recommend a gun, a martial art technique, a TV show, whatever, unless I field tested it. This is going to be a monthly show. It's Nurse Mo. So we're going to get an email set up, send in questions about how we can help. We're going to have her contact information at the end of the show. She's a very nice lady. Feel free to email her with questions. This will be it. We will keep bringing it back. But I'm going to start. I'm going to make a commitment. I'm going to be my own guinea pig. I'm going to start because I can swallow some pills. I mean, you asked me to be about, all these servings of fruits and veggies and 9 fistfuls, and nope, that ain't going to happen. But I sure as hell can swallow a few pills while I eat my cheese coney. So I'm going to go on these things, and when we do our show in a month, I will tell you 100% honestly if I feel better, worse, what is happening with me. Because I know I don't eat healthy, and while I wrote in on great genetics, had nothing to do with me, it's just the sperm I wrote in on, I came in on great genes. But I'm 46, and I know time is not on my side anymore. And while I still have a Wolverine-like immune system from growing up playing in the Mill Creek, mm-hmm. I could probably take a little better care of myself, so I'm gonna try this. I mean, it makes sense to me because as much as all you vegetarians and vegans out there, do you see these? Those are canines. These are incisors. We have stereoscopic vision. We are meant to be hunter-killers. But we have molars. That's to ground roots and nuts and berries. The reason man has survived so well, besides our brains, we're omnivores. We're not carnivores like cats. Cats only eat meat. Spiders only eat meat. Snakes only eat meat. We're not herbivores. Deers, things like that. We can live off both like mm-hmm. bears. Mm-hmm. That's what makes us successful. But when we're denied an entire spectrum of food because we live off ramen noodles, hot dogs, and Little Debbie's, the gut suffers.
Right, absolutely. And I want to let you know that this process took a year for me to get to, of increasing my fruits and vegetable nutrition massively. So I want to let you know, we'll come back in a month, but if you're not feeling a whole lot, don't gauge it off of that.
All right, so one of my addictions, besides my ubiquitous Coke, are these. I love these things. Caffeine, if I drink too much caffeine, I get a little skittery. The Stacker 2s and those things make me homicidal.
That's not good.
No, they're not good. And I am a big believer, better living through chemistry, but know what you're putting in your body. So to the best of my knowledge, what I am taking with these are massive doses of B vitamins, which boost your metabolism, taurine, which is an amino acid, and a little bit of caffeine. One of the few medications I found work a little better if you eat something with it, a few crackers, whatever, because now, obviously, I have fat to metabolize, but if I give it a little nibbling first, it'll start working. If I don't eat anything with them, it's slower,
right.
But these are my energy vice of choice.
Right.
You're snarling up your nose, so I'm guessing there's some problem with them.
Well, they increase the heart rate. They have toxins in them. The caffeine alone, caffeine is not good for us. Caffeine is not good for us. We're not meant to thrive on caffeine. And I'm not
Witch!
I
Witch!
know,
Burn
I
the
know,
witch!
I know, exactly, exactly. But and I've never been a coffee drinker, but I did drink that diet pop. That's the only way I got going in the morning. I was a single mom with 3 kids. I understand that dilemma. That's the only way I kept going. I was tired all day long.
Right.
I needed something.
Right. I mean, that's the struggle is real.
Right, exactly. So what I have found is that in putting the fruit and vegetable nutrition into my body, it's actually started to working better. I sleep 6 to 8 hours a night versus 16 to 20 hours every 24-hour
and yet
cycle.
You still feel rested. And
I still feel rested. I have energy. I felt like I was dying a slow death. I was in a race to raise my children before I went 6 feet under. That was my life. Not anymore. Not anymore. I am living life. And I know there are so many people out there who feel the way I used to feel, who get up every day wondering, is this what it's supposed to be like for the rest of my life? I have news for you. It's not. I thought getting old was supposed to feel the way I was feeling. I feel so much better. I feel like I'm in my 30s again. And I want that same thing for everybody else. And I am on a mission. I thank God every day that I got Crohn's disease and fibromyalgia and trigeminal neuralgia and everything else that I faced. I thank God that we were homeless. I thank God that my children experienced what they did, because they wouldn't be the people that they are today if they didn't. They are amazing, loving, caring, compassionate people. I want to pass that on to other people. I was given a gift that day in line at Kings Island. I was given hope. When I felt the most despair driving home from that doctor's office that day, I thought I was going to die before I raised my kids, and they wouldn't have a mom anymore. I lost my sister to brain cancer in 2009, a year after I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease. She had a 16 and a 14-year-old son. I don't want anyone else to experience that. Kids shouldn't watch their parents die or be sick. And parents shouldn't have to watch their children watch them get sick. There's an answer here. There's hope. There's a little gift wrapped with a nice, pretty red bow. And it's called nutrition. And you don't have to eat your fruits and vegetables in order to get the nutrition into your body. We encourage that. You'll want to later on down the road, because your body's going to change chemically, and you're going to start craving that stuff, and you're going to call your wife and say, I'm at BW3's. Why am I craving that celery on my plate? And you're going to laugh, because you're going to know that your body is starting to get better. I want this gift for everybody else out there, because you don't have to live the rest of your life the way you are, and medications aren't the only answer.